Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a sudden and absolutely dramatic shift in Tamil Nadu's political landscape. If you've been following Indian politics at all, you know the southern states are highly contested ground, right? The players there make for some truly fascinating dynamics. Well, today, we're focusing on one of the most visible, talked about figures in that arena, someone who just completely flipped the board. So, why did Tamil Nadu's rising political star suddenly walk away? We're diving into the breaking news of Annamalai's shock resignation in June 2026. You see, this wasn't just your standard run-of-the-mill political reshuffle. This is someone who was viewed as the absolute face of a national party's push into a really difficult state, suddenly deciding to pack it all up and forge his own path. So what exactly triggers a political earthquake of this magnitude? Let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the 2026 resignation shock, look back at his Singham cop origins, trace his rapid rise in the Tamil Nadu BJP, dig into the aggressive politics and clashes, pinpoint the ultimate breaking point, and finally explore his brand new political movement. All right, part one, the 2026 resignation shock and his sudden exit from the BJP. The timeline of this exit is what makes it truly wild. I mean, this happened fast. On June 2nd, 2026, Annamalai was up in Delhi holding high-level meetings with Home Minister Amit Shah and BJP National President Nitin Nabin. Just 3 days later, June 5th, he releases a video officially resigning from the primary membership of the party. Just like that. The stated reason? He cited nearly 18 months of growing, basically irreconcilable differences over the party's direction in the state, specifically regarding alliance strategies. He essentially felt this deep fundamental conflict between his vision for Tamil Nadu and the National Party's framework. Moving to part two, the Singham cop origins, going from the IPS to politics. Before the politics, Annamalai was actually an engineering graduate with an MBA from IIM Lucknow, who then went on to serve in the Indian Police Service. He joined the Karnataka cadre back in 2011. By 2013, as Assistant Superintendent of Police in the Karkala subdivision, he was making serious waves. His strict policing was so effective, it actually earned several stations ISO certifications. But imagine walking away from that kind of secure, high-powered career. Well, that's exactly what happened. Following a really transformative trip to Kailash Mansarovar in 2018, he deeply reevaluated his life's mission, and that ultimately led to his voluntary resignation from the IPS in 2019. While he was in uniform, he earned a very specific, very telling nickname, Singham Anna, which translates to lion brother. This wasn't just PR, it was a direct result of his strict, no-nonsense crime-controlling style in places like Udupi and Chikmagalur. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. This Singham persona became the bedrock of his brand. It translated seamlessly from law enforcement straight into political maneuvering, giving him this immediate aura of authority and intense anti-corruption zeal. Which brings us to part three, his rise in the Tamil Nadu BJP, a truly meteoric ascent. His climb within the BJP was, frankly, unprecedented. He was actually being actively courted by other political heavyweights, notably actor Rajnikanth, but he chose the BJP, joining them in August 2020. Within weeks, literally weeks, he gets appointed vice president of the state unit. Less than a year later, he's named the Tamil Nadu BJP president at just 39 years old. The party clearly wanted to leverage his youth appeal and that squeaky clean image. He hit the ground running, launching massive initiatives like the Enman and Makal, or My Land, My People, Padayatra, literally walking across all assembly constituencies to massively boost the party's ground visibility. But here's the core paradox of his political career so far. Despite drawing these massive crowds and having speeches go viral online, independent electoral success remained elusive. Look at the numbers. In the 2021 assembly elections in Aravakuruchi, he captured nearly 39% of the vote, which is significant, but he still lost to the DMK candidate who took nearly 53%. Then jumped to the highly watched 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Contesting from Coimbatore, he lost again. He grabbed about 33% of the vote, but trailed the DMK candidate by a pretty huge margin of around 110,000 votes. He had the popularity, for sure, but it just wasn't translating into winning individual seats. Part 4. Aggressive politics and clashes, or how to make enemies. Annamalai didn't play it safe. He went straight for the ruling establishment's jugular. He famously released what he dubbed the DMK files. These were a series of audio recordings alleging massive, high-level corruption involving senior DMK ministers and even relatives of the chief minister. The response to that? A staggering 500 crore rupee defamation suit. The ruling DMK hit back heavily, completely dismissing the allegations as baseless political stunts. But win or lose in court, it cemented his position as a highly disruptive, combative force in the state. But honestly, his fiercest battles weren't just with the opposition. They were internal. You see, Annamalai fundamentally rejected the traditional playbook. His strategy was entirely about independent, aggressive BJP growth, openly attacking all traditional powers and flat-out rejecting regional compromises. Meanwhile, the old guard of his party wanted to stick to the traditional strategy, relying heavily on established regional alliances, specifically with the AIA-DMK, to just maintain the status quo and secure a few guaranteed seats. This was a fundamental clash. He was actively alienating the very allies his national leadership felt they desperately needed. Part 5. The Breaking Point, the Alliance Ultimatum. You really get a sense of how intense this hostility got from his public comments. When talking about the leader of the AIA-DMK, EPS, Annamalai publicly called him illiterate and even alleged he only became the legislative party leader as the highest bidder. Wow. By so harshly and publicly torching the leadership of a major regional player, Annamalai basically became a massive liability for the BJP's national leadership. They were looking ahead to the 2026 assembly elections and wanted to mend those fences to secure an alliance with the AIA-DMK at all costs. So the national leadership made their move. In April 2025, Annamalai was quietly sidelined. He was removed as the BJP state president, and tellingly, he was replaced by someone who was actually a former AIA-DMK minister. The goal couldn't have been clearer: mend those alliance ties immediately. This move completely shut down Annamalai's independent vision and ultimately led to him refusing to contest the 2026 polls at all, setting the stage for his complete exit a year later. The overarching message? The alliance was simply more important than the individual star. Finally, Part 6. A new political movement called We the Leaders. But Annamalai is absolutely not stepping away from public life. He's just changing his vehicle. He's taking an initiative he founded called We the Leaders and officially expanding it into a full political movement. Alongside this, he's launching the APJ Abdul Kalam Center for Ethics and Politics to actively train members for leadership roles. His stated goal is incredibly ambitious: to end traditional, dynastic, and personality-driven politics in Tamil Nadu. The sources note he's setting his sights directly on both the ruling DMK and emerging forces like Active Vijay's TVK party, positioning himself as the ethical, non-dynastic alternative to the status quo. So here is the million-dollar question we're leaving you with today. Can Annamalai actually transform this undeniable rock star popularity, his Singham brand, and his fierce anti-corruption message into real, independent electoral success? Can the Lion of Tamil Nadu achieve at the ballot box what he couldn't within the confines of a national party framework? It is a massive, massive gamble, and you can bet everyone in Indian politics is watching closely to see how the board changes next.